Well, you said we're not playing. Stop and play.
We'll try to get that song quickly, but we won't rush that fast. You just talk and kind of get ready for it and play. It keys up. No, go ahead. Kind of get ready for it and play. It keys up.
Hi, and welcome to the Backline. My name is Theron Woods, and today our guest is Tony Thorn. Tony is from Bloomfield, Missouri, right here in the 𝐓𝐿, and you've probably seen him standing behind his daughter, Maggie, performing everywhere, all over the United States. You guys go a lot of places.
Yeah, anywhere.
But today we have him solo, and we're going to talk about his life before Maggie. And so welcome, Tony. I'm glad to have you here. I've seen you so many times. Our families are oddly enough, we've done this in music and we've intertwined, and so here we are. We find ourselves sitting in this room.
Finally.
Yeah. Finally.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you get started? Go back to when you started. Like what made you really set your sails on this course? Yeah.
Well, I say that I came from a long line of church pianists. You know, my grandmas, my aunts, my mom, everybody played organ or piano in church, seems like. So,
who, as a side note, those piano players can just about play anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They can.
So, I mean, I kind of had music in my life. That's the point, you know, growing up.
Right.
I was around the both popular music and live music. But I don't know, I just discovered the guitar and it intrigued me. I wanted to play. I was just drawn to it for whatever reason. You know, about a middle school age, early teenager, and my mom and dad let me do it. Mm-hmm. You know, so I locked myself in the bedroom and just started hammering away at the thing. I didn't know anything, but as I learned and had a few lessons here and there, I caught the attention of Debbie Williamson, who was our choir director at school, mm-hmm. It wasn't just me. She seemed to catch the attention of all the kids kind of in the corner playing guitar, not playing basketball. They're back there singing and picking and doing that. She would find us and bring us out and make us go to choir and create a show for us to play in. 𝐓𝐿𝐿e, who was my cousin, we were the same age. People may know him. Also, you know, he could sing, I played guitar, so she found us a job. and so we played around school a lot and formed bands and just really got into it. And I give her a lot of credit mm-hmm. For just letting silly kids do what they wanted to do.
Right.
You know.
It usually takes an adult in our lives okaying that for us to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone to say it's okay.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And she did more than that, really, because she created things for us to do in school that weren't, you know, just classical choir concerts. I mean, we had pop music concerts that we had to put a band together. We had to figure out the band elements to make it work and sing behind lead singers and then put on a show. Yep. But there's a lot to learn in that element, just doing it the first times. And you learn a lot, you know. How to play, how to let somebody else play, you know, mm-hmm. how to back up somebody else, and all those things. She was great musician in her own right, and could sing, and even on occasion, if they wanted us, her and Annette and Connie Davis and Jim and me could go out and sing a song or two, church here or there, that kind of thing. So that kind of set the ball rolling, got me interested. So much so that I did qualify, applied to go to Mizzou as a musician in their music program and got accepted, and that's all thanks to you know, Debbie and the music she taught us in high school. Because there weren't any formal classes, you know, she kind of had to teach on her own, above and beyond.
Did you go to school with the intent to teach?
You know, that's what Mizzou would have liked.
Right.
Not me.
I said, did you go to school?
Well, I went, you know, once I got out of high school and up and in Columbia and stuff, I just really wanted to play. I wanted to be in a band. That was all I could think. I want to go play music. And yet here I was in a liberal arts college where they want you to go to math and they want you to go to history and I went to music class and you know, on my instruments, all that kind of stuff was good, but I didn't go to math. I wasn't interested. You know, so after it lasted about a year and a half, college did, and it just well, if I wasn't going to go to math and history in a liberal arts college, they didn't want me. I couldn't just go to music. They wouldn't just let me go to guitar class.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. You can't pick and choose what you want to do.
Orchestra and that kind of thing. But there was a lot of learning there, you know, both about real life and about music, because I did dig that. That was great. I got to play in the orchestra. I got to play in the marching band. I studied guitar in depthly and just stringed instruments in general. And so it added to my life, but it didn't last 4 years.
Right.
Learned a lot in the time that I was there. And I met some people that, once you fast forward a few years, that I played with and toured the country with. So it was good to be there. It just wasn't, my puzzle piece didn't fit in. I had to go find where my puzzle piece fit in.
Right.
You know.
Right. Tony, you said you play a lot, but do you sing any at all?
It's limited. You know, even at home now with Maggie and my wife can sing, and they don't even let me sing in the shower. I don't compete. I don't know. My voice box wasn't hooked up the way my fingers are, I guess, and so no, I don't sing. But I like play. Seems like I can pick up any string instrument and make it do something, you know. But not my voice. Nobody wants to hear me sing.
So do you sit around and do you find yourself still writing a lot as far as like instrumentals?
Yeah. And I mean, it helps the writing process. I'm kind of that guy that they say, hey, well, for instance, Maggie will many times have been driving in a car and say, hey, I wrote this song, and she'll sing it, you know, and record it and be singing it to me over the phone, and I'll do the music, you know, I'll arrange it to what she's singing. And I kind of have done that all my life. I sit around and just come up with silly little things, you know, instrumentals and songs and this and that, and you know, we could play one, we could do one.
Oh yeah.
Just something kind of new and recent. I hate capos, but they're necessary sometimes.
I like what you're doing there.
Well, it's
That's
backwards
pretty cool.
and upside down, but
Yeah.
you know.
Get that E open.
I'm from Southeast Missouri. I never said I was right. I was just
That's-
here.
I don't think any of us are right.
So, but I do write, you know, chord progressions and sit around and do those kind of things. And here's one I've kind of been working on. If you want to do it, we'll try it. And,
Absolutely.
it's in E, and if I can play it, why, let's just go along for the ride.
I'll follow.
So
Yeah, I do. I sit around and I do the same thing a lot, and so that can go on for
forever.
scary for other humans to walk in and check on you by the hour and see that you're still playing the same thing. But it's a world you get lost in. And, you know, with us being from this area, I've noticed that, and there's guys that I've met throughout my life that I've known had played music, and probably if you're not from this area, there's probably some guys that you know like that you've heard of, you've known them, and you probably kind of know what they're like. But until you sit down and start seeing the similarities, you don't realize just how much influence an area can have on you or your region. And a lot of stuff that we grew up with, like I grew up with 60s, 70s, and then I was obviously a child of the 80s. But as I got older, I realized that everybody from my area was, and though we might be doing different things, whether it be country or rock or blues or whatever, everybody still has this base style, and it's pretty diverse. You know, it's just got this swampy sort of feel to it. Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah.
Growing up around here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, everybody, you know, it's this mix of gospel and blues and country and rock and roll and hillbilly, you know, and southern rock, and it's just, we're in the middle. So I think, like our weather, we get a little bit of every kind of music mixed in here too, and just a lot of influences, sure.
A lot of things were handed to us by our parents.
Oh yeah.
You know, and now you've got so much that is readily available. But I guess we all, like our parents, passed records around or something. I don't know. We were just my sister and I. We'll be completely apart for years and come back and we've kind of listened to the same thing. You know.
Yeah. And growing up for me, it was kind of a tale of three cities. You know, I had country music. Of course, and I think it was my grandparents and just country radio in general, and that was the classic days of country. And even as an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, I would gravitate to that. Not that I tried to play it at that time, but I would just gravitate to that. But if you got in the car going to Walmart with my mom, it was 60s and 70s pop. You know, it was Neil Diamond all the way. It was that kind of sing-along stuff that kids and people are still singing along to today. Right. But then my dad was a polar opposite. When we go, if you were in the car with him, there was nothing but Easy 103. You know, no words. He wanted jazz and or contemporary music that on the pop station had words, but on his station had no words. It was the jazz. It was the orchestrated version of Neil Diamond, you know. Right. And so I look back at that, and that was a diverse way for a musician to grow up, but a good way, because all influences matter. You know, there's 12 notes repeated over and over and over again, and I'm just amazed at you know, you put this in someone else's hand and it will sound entirely different, and they're the same notes, you know. And that's what the human experience is that way. Not to get too deep, you know. Everybody's got their own reflection back on life, and that's neat, you know.
No, to me that's what made us want to start talking to musicians and people, like, because you know, people have known us for a long time, but I don't know if they realize just how. Obviously, our wives and our close family understands, but I don't know if they know how much time we actually spend with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I like to crawl off in a closet and play.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm not always loyal to it. I mean, it kind of comes with seasons of your life, I think. But you have to pull. Sometimes you got to pull me to get me out. I just as soon play. Yeah. You know, kind of in the closet.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
You know, stuff like that. You know.
Right, exploration, yeah. So Tony, let's go back to when you were were you at Mizzou?
Yeah.
So let's go back to when you were at Mizzou and you weren't going to class. So what happened from there? Did you end up meeting some guys that didn't go to class also?
Yeah, for me, school ended, you know, got a job, just living, hoping, still wanting to play music in Columbia. That's just what I wanted to do. And as if fate would have it, one night I ran into a fella that I used to, he lived in the same dormitory as I did, but a bass player, fellow musician, great bass player, Scott was his name, and one of the best rock and underground bassists that you could meet. I mean, his Kiss was he freaked out about Kiss, right? He loved Kiss. And to set that up, to say, just out of the blue, he come up to me and said, man, we've got this country band. And yeah, it's a country band, but we need a guitar player. Our guitar player's kind of got to move on, who I also kind of knew. Couldn't believe these two guys were playing country, but a band. That was great. That was great news for me. So I joined them, and it was a country band. Merle Haggard, very traditional. They had a lead singer and a drummer, a couple guitar players, and we practiced once or twice, and then started playing. They had a standing house gig at a place called the North 40 in Columbia. The band made the door. That's what we made every night. We played Friday and Saturday night. They charged $1 to get in, and they seated 40 people.
Oh.
And so we made the door. But I'll tell you, it didn't matter. I was just happy. I had a band, and that kind of grew and grew and grew over the course of the next 6 months to a year. We started getting better, a little more popular. Started playing a lot. I say we played every back porch and honky tonk and Eagles Club in central Missouri.
Yeah.
You just draw a 100-mile radius around Columbia and we could go. But we grew. After about a year, we got busier than our drummer wanted to be. We were busy. The young guys, my college buddies, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make a living playing music. We wanted to get out in the world. We wanted to go play, hit it as hard as we could hit it, and we'd push the band to the limits of the drummer's life and wife and spare time. Mm-hmm. We had to find a drummer. So fate was kind to us again, and there was this hotshot drummer in Columbia that was about a year younger than me. Keep in mind, I'm maybe turning 20. I'm about 19, doing all this crazy stuff. He was 19. He came for a tryout, and we hired him before the end of the first song. I think we ended the song.
Everybody already nodded.
You're just like, yeah, bud, you're in. And so that started a band that played. And if there's any old Mizzou people, I'm a man of a certain age, but if there's Mizzou people out there, we were playing the Silver Bullet under the bowling alley and getting to open for people like Clint Black and Asleep at the Wheel, John Anderson, fun stuff like that. And we were getting to play Sedalia Fair during that time. We were playing Bud Tent and just having a good time in Missouri. Mm-hmm. By that time we'd all quit our day jobs because we were playing all we could play.
Were there a lot of places to play then up there?
There were several. Enough places that you would work Tuesday or Wednesday night through the weekend. I think of the Silver Bullet being a main one. It's great club, mm-hmm. Good size, dance hall, a lot of fun. And then the Midway truck stop on 60. But great for working musicians. They were like a Wednesday, Thursday through Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday afternoon, I think out there we played Sunday afternoon. There was a softball outfit that played. You belonged, and I'm going to forget the name. I'm going to show my age, but you actually belonged to this place like you would belong to a golf course. But they played softball, and they had music on the weekends.
Oh wow!
And a bar
during
Saturday night, during the tournaments, and to bring people into their bar,
right.
And dance a little, and just tons of places like that. There were places in Kirksville and Centralia and Moberly and Eagles clubs and dance halls and it was a fun time. And we really hit that hard, year and a half, 2 years, until we took notice of an agent that booked bands across country, and he put it in our lap that, boys, if you want to travel, I can put you to work. You can do the job as long as you're willing to commit. His name was Ken Summers, and we took the bait. And from there, for the next almost 5 years, I was a professional homeless person. Not that I didn't make a living, it's just that we were gone.
You didn't need a place to live.
I didn't need a place to live. We took Christmas and Easter and a week's vacation, you know, later in the summer, just to have a break, and the rest of the time we were somebody's dance hall somewhere.
Jukebox.
Yeah. Oh, but it was fun. We played a lot of. At that time, there were circuit clubs like Red Stallions and Caravan East and places, especially out west. Dance halls were the rage, and so you would go. They'd hire you to play Tuesday through Saturday night, and might seat 600-800 people. Have a dance floor full of people, you know.
Right.
And you were the entertainment. You weren't in the business of being necessarily an original band. You were just an entertaining band, and if you could play, you know, George Strait,
right,
Clint Black,
two-step
Merle Haggard,
music,
two-step.
Yeah.
If you were,
Yeah.
And so we got, you know, I mean, just to pat ourselves on the back, I guess the longevity speaks for itself.
Right.
You know, we were able to do it, and make a lot of memories and cause a lot of trouble and do things you don't talk about on TV.
Right.
You know, too much, but really we survived, and it was fun. It was fun. That band was called Southbound when it was on the road. Columbia, we had a couple versions because, you know, I said that we outgrew the drummer, where it was his band, and it was his name. So when he left, we were Desert Creek, but when he left, we had to, you know, you can't be, you know, he had to change the name.
Took the name with him.
Yeah, you guys, if you're gonna go on and play without me, you can't have the name. So we had to change your name, but we survived that. Had a good time.
Well, Tony, you brought a guitar today that I'm curious about. I'm a sucker for a Stratocaster.
Yeah, me too.
And for those of you that don't know, it's a Fender Stratocaster, both of those hanging on his side. They're not just decorations, we actually do play them. But this one looks like it's got a story, so tell me about that one.
Yeah, that one, I was born to play a Strat. I don't know, it's just in me. I love them. And when I was a kid, I never had any money, you know, I never owned one. I had Strat knockoffs. I had Best Choice Strats.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Always save Stratocasters. And they were great
Was it
guitars.
yellow?
Nothing wrong, yeah. Well, I did have a natural colored one.
Yellow and black.
But I never had a real Fender. And about the time I started playing in Columbia, this guitar turned up in a used store downtown. The Blue Guitar, if anybody remembers from that day. And I walked in, and this was hanging on the hook, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a Fender Strat. It's a 1978.
Yeah.
I bought it in 1987. I had to play gigs and bring him $40, $20, $10 at a time till it was paid off, you know.
Right.
But it looked a lot better when I bought it. After I bought it, I never carried another guitar on the road. This was, which is a testament to the guitar. I mean, this guitar played 6 nights a week, 5 nights a week for 6 years, solid. I didn't carry a spare. I didn't have to work on it much, you know, and it kind of shows. But
I think it's beautiful just as it is.
But yeah, and you know, my wife kind of laughs and says it'll go with me to the grave, I guess.
I'm just a fan of the War Scars, you know, the real ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. That's not a relic. That's not a relic.
A relic, yeah.
No, that's because I dropped it.
That's a Tony.
And I beat it up on,
you know,
on belt buckles and
Fenders.
stuff.
I can, whether it be a Stratocaster, which are my favorite, or a Telecaster. I've seen them. I actually have had a Telecaster fall off of a unstrapped locked guitar.
Yeah.
And hit the ground on a concrete slab and do a complete flip. Land again. I picked it up and went. And it was
Fenders, yeah. Well, I brought this one, hadn't tuned it in weeks, and it was in, you know.
Yeah.
And this one's fell. Even with strap locks, they'll give up on you sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's bounced around in a trailer. And the only thing that didn't survive was the fender case. And you know, I brought it in a modern case, and I've got the old case, but it wouldn't hold water.
The old black
You know,
one with
yeah,
it
it
had
was
yellow on the inside.
No, it's black inside.
Black inside.
The only thing keeping it together are the stickers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of a sticker collector, and if it wasn't for the stickers, it'd be in
Duct
1,000
tape.
pieces. Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of. There's always that one guitar. I've got a Stratocaster also. It's just the one. It just feels right, and you can take 20 of these, line them up, and pick them all up blindfolded, and you'll feel that one. You'll know which one it is.
That's kind of how I shop. They fit you. You know, Harry Potter, I'm kind of a movie buff. The wand picks the wizard, right?
Right.
So I think the guitar picks the player, because you do. Once you find them, and I don't believe in selling them either. You know, I mean, it's part of the family. Kinda,
I've had to, but I don't like to.
Yeah, I've had to too, but I don't like to.
Well, let's play a song on it. I want to see how it sounds.
All right. You know, we talked about the blues. Let's do like a little blues thing with it. Some guys didn't like these guitars. For one, it was made in California, and it's made out of ash, and it outweighs most Les Pauls.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of an oddball Strat. But it makes it more twangy, and for me more country. But it's got nice blues tones and stuff, and I throw some of that out there for the guitar geeks. They want to know, you know. And it's all original, except that when they were making these in California, they used this little bitty old thin fret wire, and they just didn't. There was one thing: they could ring better, sound more stratty if you put jumbo frets on it. And I had that done right away. I mean, I didn't. It didn't leave the store. I had them do it while I was paying it off. So it's always kind of been with me the way that it is, and that's being a child of playing guitar in '89 and '90. The jumbo frets come out on the Fenders, and that kind of made for a sound. So so let's try.
All right,
let's try blue, kind of a B.B. King kind of feeling thing.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, I you know, Republican, Democrat, whatever, I don't know. I'm a Fender guitar,
Yeah.
through a Fender amp, and that's all you need.
Fender 2020.
Yeah, yeah, all day long. I'm easy.
Yeah. You were playing with a band. You were in Columbia. About what year was this when you were playing?
You know, 87, 88's when it started. It went on to, you know, I was 25, going on 26 when I chose to come home. When I didn't really have to come home. The band was really going strong. So, you know, 92, 93, however the math works out there.
And you and Laura, your wife, you were together from high school?
Not from high school, no. Although, you know, that's a story unto itself, kind of. I mean, we grew up in the same church. We grew up around one another. Her mother is a fabulous singer, songwriter too. You know, kind of was in. So
Yes,
I was around her mother a lot, and we didn't go on a date till I was like 19 or 18. She, you know, so she lived through. She put up with me through all the music
She
stuff.
was there from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. Although we didn't date in high school, we didn't really meet one another till we were, you know, almost 20. But we did get married through that, and just time came. You know, by the time I was 25 or 26 that year, for whatever reason, over the course of that year, Laura and I had gotten married, and we were trying to plan our life and talking about kids and the seriousness of life. And boy, I wanted to play music and all. But that last year that I was on the road, I kept meeting these guys that were 45 to 53, kind of my age now. And every one of them seemed like had the same story. They had 3 ex-wives. They didn't have any money. They hadn't seen their kid. They had one maybe in jail. You know, I mean, they were just back out on the road because that's all they'd done their whole life.
Right.
And you know, we were just making a living. Although we were doing good as a band, we weren't. You know, there's a difference between what we were doing as a working man's band and say, you know, somebody that was recorded. Because they sometimes have the ability to go out for a week and come in, or go out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come in Monday, Tuesday. And so while it's a hectic family life, I was gone. I mean, Laura can contest. There were times, I'll see you in 3 months. Yeah. And we wrote a lot of letters. And so as we started to talk about having children and just the seriousness of that time in life, why it was, we decided to move home, come home. Because I didn't want to be gone. You know, I didn't want to be that 50-year-old guy that never saw my kids, and because it's important, you know, to be around, I think. So we and I made the decision to come home. And her family farms, my family farms. I grew up farming, so it was kind of easy. That's what I did. As came home with the idea of stepping back into farming and at least having a business for myself, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Music was a business for myself. I was a road manager. I liked that end of it. I liked the business end of it too. And so I could come home and still have a business for myself and raise my family and get to see my daughters and my son.
And feel good about it.
Yeah. And I was pretty content with that. We had children, and you know, 10, 15 years rolled by, and I didn't play a whole lot. I didn't seek it out. I mean, I maybe played around home and this and that, but I had a daughter that about 15 was like, you know, what are these guitars in the basement, Dad?
Did you play much when she was growing up, or did you kind of just put it down?
I'd really put it aside. I mean, the guitars were out, you know. I mean, I had one in the bedroom I'd pick up a lot, but just even our church situation, while I play in church every Sunday now, at that time we were still pretty traditional, same church, but it hadn't evolved into this, you know, the contemporary music of today. It was still, boy, it was just a piano.
Weren't a lot of guitars in church.
There wasn't a lot of guitars in church, so there wasn't just
especially here
opportunity to play. And I left, you know, I graduated high school and was gone. So, and there was good in this too, because when I came home, it was a fresh start. I didn't know a lot of pickers or a lot of players or even people that were playing around here, and nobody knew me. You know, they just did. I left at a time where, you know, I didn't come home to guys going, "Hey, you know, you play. Won't you come out and play?" So it let me kind of regroup and redo.
Right.
You know, which was good. It was good. It was good for me too. I mean, 20s can be hard on a fella.
Oh, I know.
You know, and I don't know. I've been blessed. You know, I've got 3 kids now, and they all, while they all enjoy music, I had one that kept bugging me about it and kind of brought me out of retirement. You know,
Right. Yeah.
and so that's been fun.
Yeah.
I've always been a side man. That's kind of what I know how to do. You know.
Well, you're really good at it.
And well, thank you. You are too. You know, I mean, we're all just pickers on
I know.
our way. You know.
Poor old pickers. So Maggie turns 15, or when did she start playing? We'll talk more
Yeah.
about Maggie. We're going to have Maggie on the show,
Yeah.
both of them together, but just a little bit about, without stealing her thunder, when did she start?
Yeah, she started at
Pulling at
2,
you.
2 years old. She would stand up in her car seat and sing this and that, you know. And,
Yeah.
she would sing. She would always perform. Her grandma could get her to stand on a little kitchen stool and sing "This Little Light of Mine," you know. I mean, so
Yeah.
she took right to it. But you know, once she got to be a teenager and really discovering that she could sing, and I didn't have to do much to make her decide.
No.
You know, and even she says I taught her guitar. Well, I put a guitar in her hand and I said, you know, you can do this and this and this, and then off she went. I mean,
If you
it
really
just-
want to learn, you'll just do it.
yeah, you'll just do it. That's a good, you know, that's a commonality that you'll find, and so she just took it and started flying. You know, I didn't have to push much, but we kind of, you know, in the beginning, once she was 15 or 16, and kind of, you know, I like doing this. We had the opportunity with the boathouse. A lot of people know the boathouse.
Yeah.
Real close to home. He let Maggie come out on Sunday afternoons. He was letting Josh Monroe, rest his soul,
Yeah.
play on Sunday, and we knew Josh, and so Maggie, we would go out and kind of learn a song or two, and it grew from there. But we kind of also thought, you know, she got interested enough in it that old Dad was like, you know, this might be fun. We can at least, you know, if we do this, we can play some wineries, make you some gas money,
Right.
you know, do Saturdays and Sundays. A lot of wineries in our area, which were great venues before this COVID thing came along. A lot of music. We feed a lot of musicians in Southeast Missouri with live venues, and they were welcoming to Maggie, and so it kind of grew. You know, not to steal all of her story, but that was just how it started, and I kind of had to learn how to play again. It seemed
How to play in
like,
front
you
of
know.
people again, huh?
Yeah, and how to play in front of people. And the one thing I will say that has been the biggest blast now. I mean, we've gotten to play and do a lot of things, and that is fun. But the original music, the writing, you know, we've recorded 3. We've got a new song coming out just in a week. Next,
You recorded
3 albums.
3 records, yeah.
We've got 3 albums. Spotify, you know, shameless plug. They're on Spotify and Apple Music.
Plug all
and
you
everything.
want. This is what this is for.
So, yeah, we've got a new video and digital single coming out November 1st, Sunday, November 1st. Be on YouTube, and the single will be everywhere you get digital music. you know.
Streaming
streaming wherever you stream.
Platforms.
It's called Porch Swing Prayers, and I think everybody will like it, and our little granddaughter's in the video, so who can't go wrong with that? You
Yeah.
know.
Right.
We had a good time. It was weird. You know, just technical stuff. We'd been planning on recording this song. We wrote it last winter, and just loved it. Boy, we're gonna some of them come along. Boy, we want to record, and so we did. But they had a sunflower patch on their farm. She's married to a farmer, Lowry's, and boy, we need to shoot this video, Dad, while sunflowers are on. And okay, so we shot the video before we recorded the song, so we kind of did it backwards. But it turned out great. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Well, something that I've admired, Tony, about you and our like I said, you know, our pasts and our families and all of us, all of our people have played together at one time or another. But something that I have, something I've noticed with you and your family is that you've always kept family involved. Your wife Laura has always been extremely involved in Maggie's life. Obviously, you have by playing and doing some managing also. Maggie, I mean, her sister had to be, you know, her brother had to be willing to let you guys go and do a lot, and so you were able to guide her and keep her out of trouble, you know. And
Well, maybe.
well, as much as you could keep Maggie out of trouble, but
that's true. She couldn't pull off much just with Dad there.
I've always admired that because in so many instances, music is sometimes the enemy. It can, like you said, the guys had 3 marriages and all that stuff, but. The way that you have raised her, I have to say, hats off to you, because you have put music in a healthy light.
I believe in passion. I believe, you know, God stirs within you a passion, whether it's to, I mean, dig ditches, you know, or build skyscrapers, or take out people's appendixes, or play music, you know. I just want people to follow that dream, I guess.
Do what you do.
I mean, it's kind of, it's hard to do sometimes, but at least answer that calling of your passion. And my kids, just whatever you do, just don't make a living out of staying on my couch.
Right.
You know. I turn to humor a lot, but I do tell them that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what you do. You know, follow your passions. Yeah. And they. Especially Maggie didn't have they all can sing and do music, but, you know, between Maggie's grandma and Laura and just all the music in her life, it was destined that
you were going to have a little entertainer.
You know? Yeah, but they all can do it. They all have their own passions in their own right, you know, their own artistic bones.
Bent.
Yeah. However you want to put it.
Well, I want to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on, and because I know you don't like to step away from being Maggie's, you know, train, so to speak, and so I really appreciate you stepping into the light and allowing us to hear your story about music before her.
This is a great show. There's a lot of guys out there in Southeast Missouri.
Yes, there are.
That have unique stories to tell. You never know. You know, your neighbor may have been on the road for 10 years with Reba McEntire, and
right.
And you never knew it. I mean, I'm serious. There's a lot of pickers in our part of the country that have lived a life and have stories to tell. So I'm interested in watching this show as much as, even more so than being on it. Really, I'm kind of nervous about being on it.
Well, also with that in mind, I'm people that I don't know. Obviously, I would like to know about. So if there's someone that you feel like has had some sort of a history in music that you'd like to share, we'd sure like to share it from the Boot Heel of Missouri. We sure would, because there are so many people here that play or have played and still play that I'd love to go talk to. So keep that in mind. Well, okay, I know I'm not Maggie, but I do write, and I just would love for you to pick on this Jerry Reedish type song that I wrote several years back. It's called Next 25. Would you play with me?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to pick on it. I'm going to play rhythm on it. So it's in A. I saw a sign in the back of my mind, waking up to Monday morning light. My body aches, and it's more than I can take. Get myself to start this day off right. Sometimes it seems I could set this world on fire. Today I'd like to watch it burn. I could stay right here in bed, but I'd never get out of bed, working on my next 25. and watching every dime. My truck is wrecked, and I live from check to check. But Daddy told me chrome won't get you home. I'd like to tell my friends about my brand new life. I'd start all over and this time get it right. I could stay right here in bed, but I'd never get out of bed, working on my next 25. All right, take off. Yes, sir. As far as I can tell, this is a good life. And everybody says I need a plan. I tell them that I've had one for a while now. I plan on. I don't worry about a thing, 'cause I ain't got one. Kinda hard to lose what you don't have. I could stay right here in bed, but I'll never get out of bed, working on my next 25. I'll be working on my next 25. I'll be working on my next 25. Nice. Tony, thanks for coming on.
Oh,
we will
yeah,
see you
anytime.
next time on the Backline.
𝐓𝐿